everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, it's a week away. I'm very thankful tonight, and I'll tell you why as the broadcast moves along. A couple of years back, my wife and I thought, well, maybe we have a shot at getting the house behind us. It was going up for sale, and this is in Jersey City, and you know, it seemed like the right time. And we tried to make a deal out with the former owners of it, and we couldn't do that. So the thing went on the market, and we just knew, well, we're going to have to pay more. But let's go ahead and take a look at it anyway. We perused one of those little sheets that you get when you buy a new house, and before you buy a new house, and you see how many washers and dryers and square foot there are, and that kind of thing. And we noticed down at the bottom of the page that there was a little section that said amenities, and it said local concert, Allure in Riverview Park. And then it said live music at the Fox and Crow, and neighborhood concerts, and artist community, and all this stuff. And we kind of took a step back and said, well, we can't buy the house because the price is getting higher and higher, and we've lost a shot at that. But you know, if you think about it, we are the amenities. We're the reason that this house went to the open market and is doing pretty well. Well, not the reason, but a significant factor of it. And I don't say that to pat myself on the back. I'm just proud of it. So this is a little visit tonight that I'm going to have with y'all, and thanks for tuning in. It's about Jersey City, but it's also about wherever you live. And I know there's people tuning in from everywhere. It could be Lake Wales, Florida, or it could be Chien du Lac in Idaho or something like that. I mean, there's people from everywhere kind of following what's up with me and what's up with the Vault Allure. But how we got to be one of those amenities is where I want to take you. And I'm going to take you from starting little concerts in our house to moving into a public space that was an old abandoned street. My wife and I lived in Jersey City from 2001 all the way to 2020, which was almost a 20-year run, and we loved it. The things that I miss the most about Jersey City, fortunately, if y'all will have me, are still there, and it's the Vault Allure and the friends that we made, the artistic community. And so I'm reaching out tonight to share with you a retrospective and to take a look ahead. And in taking a look ahead, I'm asking for your help. I will say right off the get-go that in addition to y'all's help in the community and all over the country, I want to express sincere gratitude to the Hudson County Office of Cultural and Historical Affairs. They've been a good sponsor of ours, as well as we couldn't have done it without the Riverview Neighborhood Association. They've handled the permits and the food trucks and the dealing with the city and all of that administrative stuff that me as an artist I'm just averse to. It just makes my skin crawl. And they've made this happen. Yes, we might have been the creative part of it, myself and other curators, my wife and Kern Weissman. But the RNA, the Neighborhood Association, has really made this thing flow. Again, everything I say tonight on this broadcast applies to you in Wisconsin, in Texas, in Florida. And so I invite you to enjoy some of the films that you're going to see, but also think of it in terms of what you can do in your community to kind of make the place that you want to live in and the place that you want to stay in if you possibly can. So starting from the now, we've got the COVID, and we didn't have an experience festival this year. By experience festival, I mean it's a anything goes festival. That's what the Vault Allure is. But in 2019, we had our last one. But we started in 2016. We had outgrown our space at a house that we had there called the Statuary. It was a loft, an old statue factory. And we took a little break from Jersey City, moved to Savannah for a year or two. And when we came back, we said, we're tired of complaining about our neighborhood. We want to make this place the kind of place we want to live in. We just, we want to tailor it to our taste in a sense. And let's just see if other people enjoy what we've got to offer. So we started opening our house to the public 4 times a year in conjunction with something called JC Fridays and Art House Productions. Again, neighborhood activities. So folks, I want you to kind of remember that. Neighborhood associations, neighborhood activities. And me being a homeowner I had never been involved in neighborhood activities and neighborhood associations. I had never participated in meetings and so on about how to make a neighborhood, to improve a neighborhood or to defend a neighborhood from development that might be hostile to what me and my artistic friends might want. But anyway, it was fascinating. And so we started doing these concerts, and gosh, we had a loft that at one point I think we crammed up to maybe 70 people in there, and it might have been a little bit more than that. But, it it got to the point where it was so successful, it was feeling a little bit like dangerous in a way. But that feeling was just exhilarating, and people came together, and we expanded. You expanded your own mind about how different cultures were, and how you learned about music from different cultures, because that's what we programmed. We programmed Indian music. We programmed Nigerian music. We programmed a classical pianist from Mexico, and on and on. We just zigzagged all over the world map. And the key to what we wanted to do, and our compass, was to keep people in a state of surprise. We really had no format. And that expanded and carried forward into the Vault Allure. So Margot is going to put up just a couple of posters of some of the events that we did in Jersey City at the Statuary, and you can see they're colorful, and I'm looking to see. That was the space, our loft space that we had indoors during the colder months. We'd cram people in there. Look at that. It was just it was an art gallery, and I built a stage in there. I had a full PA system. And at this point of what she's showing, we had grown out of the Statuary, but before we grow out of the Statuary, I'm going to show you the next to the last concert we had at the Statuary. Here's So 4 times a year we would have people in our courtyard and on the roof and spilling out into the street as the night grew old. And it was a wonderful feeling. And like I said, we got to know our neighbors in a we had sort of a raison d'etre, as the French say, to meet our neighbors and reach out to them. And we, you and I know how many complaints we received for giving these concerts free to the public. Zero, no complaints. And we did this for 3 years or so, and it was it was just it was something for me to look forward to. It was something for the neighbors to look forward to. But like I said, we grew out of it, and got together with Kern Weissman, and we decided we're going to curate a concert series if we can get permission from the city or the county to use Holland Street. Now, keep in mind, how would this apply to your locality? Holland Street was an abandoned Belgian block street. Uh, and I had a fellow neighbor had, when he was trying to convince me to move to Jersey City before they blocked off the street, had taken me up that street, and it was like something out of Spain or something. And it was just marvelous. There was an old bridge that had been built in 1905, and it was a long tunnel, about 50 feet long, before it connected to an actual used busy street. And when I drove under that tunnel for the first time, I thought this would be a magnificent concert space. And I love that idea of presenting art and presenting music in a space that one wouldn't expect to find it, because I think the element of surprise is essential to keeping the arts alive right now. We have to look for new ways to compete with the internet and with television and so on. So this was a way that I thought we could compete. We could move out of our house and our loft concerts and give a concert in a public space. And Kern Weissman was our liaison with the city through the Riverview Neighborhood Association, and sure enough, they gave us permission to use it. The city even got involved, and they said, we'll help you clean it up. We'll put in the portalets and everything. And eventually they helped us with the irrigation of it. They helped us with some of the uh, accessibility of it and so on. And I think that when you come up with a good idea of how to share the arts with the public, especially if you can do it for free, I'm talking about free to the public. The performers get paid. But if you can do it free to the public, then the politicians normally will get behind it. You have to program it right. I mean, I don't know that you can have bands like the Ramones or whatever in every community, but you have to program it in a way that makes sense with the cultural demographics of your community. And you have to be sensitive to those needs, and you have to be sensitive to things like the hours and so on. But the city looks at it like, hey, these guys, these Vault Allure guys are going to sort of do our job for us in a certain way. And you get what I'm saying. I mean, the city generally, and not just Jersey City, but any city will do their part. Some cities won't, but we were very fortunate in Jersey City. They got it, and they saw that the neighborhood needed this. And I think our little pocket in Jersey City, called the Jersey City Heights, needed a little love and attention. And along came the Vault Allure project, and we gave it that love and attention. So here's a film that was our first experiment of doing a concert underneath that vault. And I want to let you know what you're going to see. Again, it's what I call the element of surprise programming. It's why we call it an experience festival. We had a Baroque string quartet. We had a ballet a modern dancer who choreographed to some of the music that I had written. We had an opera singer come in with a composition that was done by a Brazilian composer. So I wanted to give the neighborhood something they hadn't heard before. And we appealed to some of the local artists. You're going to see some beautiful sails hanging up that were created by a local artist from the Dominican Republic. His name is John Carlos Cruz. He did a tremendous job. We didn't know what we were going to do with these sails, but we ended up hanging him from one of the openings of the vault. It was all pretty much improvised. It was a complete work of art, and it still is. And here's the first vault Allure, and it was at that time called the Concert on Holland Street, 2016. In September 2016, neighbors in the Riverview Arts District of the Jersey City Heights came together to repurpose historic Holland Street. This decommissioned European-style promenade is still surfaced in original Belgian block and passes under a bridge that was built in 1905 during the Industrial Revolution. Local artist John Carlos Cruz was commissioned to design and build reusable stages that the audience could surround.
I think the charm of that space, and in relation to where Jersey City is at, is it got to be open for experimentation.
A street that was landmarked years ago. It was attempted to be paved over many times, and now it is a treasure within Jersey City. It's one of the last Belgian block streets. RNA has been working to actually do a complete historic restoration of the street. We figured there's no better time to just work with local artists and just go through and start to utilize it as a performance venue.
To bring art and music here to historic Holland Street is really incredible. We hope there are many more programs in the future.
I'm proud to say that the Holland Street Vault, used as a art and performance space, is really beyond compare in the New York City area. And I think that the hundreds of people who came out to the first concert appreciated that this was all happening underneath a structure that was built over 100 years ago. And so in being a part of that, we were honoring the artisans and the craftsmen who built this neighborhood in the first place. Well, I still have my fancy glasses. They've gotten a little circular, but anyway, we were so proud of that first one, and it was just, it seemed like a work of art was in progress, and really the Holland Street space was a blank canvas. It was an empty glass, and it was just a guitar that it isn't been played, and you have to make something of it. But it was there for us to tailor to our liking, just like spaces might be in y'all's town, and we started doing that. We teamed up with another association in town, the Riverview Jazz org, or I don't know, I guess it's called Riverview what is it? Is it riverviewjazz.org? I mean, it's the Jersey City Jazz Festival now, but
Yeah,
what are they?
Riverview Jazz.
Riverview Jazz. I always feel awkward including a dot in somebody's name. I think I'm going to change my name to walterparks.com. You guys, a lot of people know me as Walter John Parks IV, but my name is now walterparks.com, and I'm going to make it official. Everybody else is making name changes. So anyway, we teamed up with the Riverview Jazz Festival, which it was named at the time. I have a love for jazz, and so did Kern Weissman and a lot of folks in the neighborhood. And we got a little bit of extra funding because the Jazz Festival starts in early June, and we thought, well, okay, let's make this year's Vault Allure or Holland Street Festival team up with the Jazz Festival. So we were the opening night event, and it was good. It was good in that our budget increased because of our partnership with the Jazz Festival. We doubled our audience. Word had gotten around. Now, mind you, the first year in 2016, we only did one concert. That was one concert in the summer. I don't know if I made that clear. And in 2017, we did one concert at the beginning of the summer. And the change that was made is that we had, rather than just, I always want to change things up. I don't want the audience to get bored, and God forbid I don't want to get bored. But we had a stage at the mouth of the vault, and we had a stage at the other end of the vault, and we had a stage in the middle. The middle was mostly the provenance of fire dancers. Now, let me tell you, if you want to, you can pretty much sell anything if you got fire dancers. And I highly recommend fire dancers if you need to, if your partner or whatever is slow to wake up in the morning, if you can have fire dancers there, he or she will wake up pronto and go to work as scheduled. But anyway, fire dancers were, that was just a scenic segue. It wasn't just a segue. When one band was setting up, the fire dancers would start, and nobody would. The fire dancers made the whole thing seamless. And the fire dancers were a troupe out of Savannah, Georgia, that Margot and I had met at the A-Town Festival. They were called the Stardust Pixies. They are called the Stardust Pixies, and we've since started using a different troupe, but I'll tell you about that later. So we went from fire dancers to, I don't know who the other entertainer was in 2017. Maybe there wasn't, but it was an improvisational jazz group. The basic theme, and this is important, we had a theme, was if Miles Davis played James Brown. So I love that era of Miles Davis, that electric era in the late 60s, 1969 through about early 70s, 72, 73, when Miles had put away his skinny tie and he just kind of was going electric. And that was the beginning of the bands that came out of Miles's bands at that point would later be Chick Corea's band, Mahavishnu Orchestra, Billy Cobham. I'm missing somebody really, really important there. Oh, Weather Report, for Christ's sake. And so anyway, all of that was a crucial part of my musical upbringing. And by the way, I'm a musician if I haven't said that. I was passionate about it, therefore I programmed it. And you know, when you're passionate about something, generally other people it's going to catch hold. So here's the 2017 little highlights from that. The Jazz Festival that was partnered with the Riverview Jazz Festival, which is now the Jersey City Jazz Festival. Margot, hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to come in underneath the vault. Come on inside, don't be shy.
began with clouds on a blue sky, sailing their false armadas through the noon's bright brass bell.
The tunnel itself was just the perfect venue. The tunnel definitely created buzz.
Everything almost quiets except for the music, and then it's just the flames. That energy that you feel, I was over the moon.
All right, everybody, thank you so much.
Looking at that film, I'm reminded of one thing that brought me a lot of pleasure that night, and it wasn't just looking at the fire dancers. I was playing electric bass on stage with Craig Aiken playing an upright bass. Nobody does that. I mean, this was just something, it was kind of a dream or something I'd always wanted to do. And that's what the Vault Allure is about. The Vault Allure is a blank canvas. It's an empty cobblestone street upon which we can... Yeah. Craig Aiken Margot's reminding me that Craig Aiken is a Heights resident, Jersey City Heights. And that was another key aspect. We whenever possible, if the talent was there, and the talent is there, we tried to hire local. But we aspire, here's my litmus test. If you're local, but you could hang on the world stage, I mean, all right, let's have you perform at our local concert, but could you hold your own on a stage in Paris? If that's my litmus test. I'm not interested in being just we're not, I don't mean this in a demeaning way, but we're not, these are not buskers here. You know, this is not, let's just play anything and see how it goes. These are top world-class artists that we choose for these events. And we are fortunate, living in the shadow of New York City, to have access to this talent. Now these guys and ladies and gentlemen who play at the Vault Allure, we all have gigs and play all over the world with other artists, and sometimes managing our own troops or bands and so on. So the quality is not an issue, but I'm recommending to y'all, if you're running festivals or thinking about running them, if you want them to be a success, there can be an aspect of bringing up local talent and bringing up young talent and talent that's not as experienced, but there has to also be an aspect of people who've been doing it for a long time. You want to keep your quality high, and that's what I feel like we did. Mostly in that year, I have big thanks to give to Brian Benninghoff and the what is now the Jersey City Jazz Festival, because Brian has a sort of a can-do attitude. Let's try it. Let's try it. If he, like me, he's like, if it's good music, let's go for it. And the band was fantastic. We had Abdou Mou, who's from Senegal. We had Terry McManus, who's a guitar player, the likes of which is, he's like the John McLaughlin genius of a guitar player. And I'm a guitar player. I'm up there playing with Terry McManus. I'm good, but this guy's a genius. And we had who's the young drummer that I like so much? Micah. Oh my gosh, Micah. Micah's from St. Louis, where I'm broadcasting from right now, but he lives in Jersey City. He's fantastic on drums. And like I said, Craig Aiken lives in the hood in Jersey City, but plays all over the world with Red Molly and other artists. So he was on an acoustic bass, and I was on electric. We had Andre Murchison from Savannah, Georgia, at the time living in New York City, on trombone, and Ted Chubb on trumpet. And Ted was freshly back from Switzerland at that point, and it was the perfect band, and that just sounded great. I think we were playing we were riffing on a Curtis Mayfield song, I think, in that, get on up. I just love, woo. And so anyway, things were going good. We wanted to keep it going. We wanted to keep the talent level up. We wanted to double our audience. And so what do? You have to think of new ideas. And I want to stress that the Vault Allure Experience Festival has been and always will be, if y'all help us and give us your support and kind of spread the word about it. It is a work of art. It's not just a presentation of art. It is a work of art in and of itself, and that this is a place that we invite artists to come to. I'm talking with a wonderful ballet dancer named Julia Bengstrom from Sweden, and I said, Julia, we're talking about 2021. I said, Julia, I want this to be something, a place where you can come and perform something you've always wanted to do, and we're going to come up with a budget so that you can do it. So just tell me what you want to do, and we're going to try to make that happen. So that's what we want to try to do, is to be that sort of dream stage for you, or a dream palette if you're a painter, or if you're an image mapper and you work on computer programs. Maybe you can use our 100-year-old walls to program on and do something you've always wanted to do. Anyway, so what we did for 2018. This is going too good. We're not just going to have one event. We're going to have 3. But we need some help. We need some financial help. We can't do it. And I have to say, this is one of the things that I want to go back a little bit and say. When Margot and I first started doing our concerts at our loft, we did it out of our own pockets for 3 years or so. We'd always pay the performers well. And we just worry about it later. Because that's how you make art. You want to plan everything up front, you're going to kill it. I'm telling you right now. And it's just, planning is important, and you get the numbers people in later, but just get her done. Just get it done and worry about the money later. Don't build it and they will come. I don't believe in that. Build it with talent and they will come. Build it with quality and they will come. Don't just build it. But anyway, so what happened is, because there was talent and quality, neighbors started to donate to us. And we never went too deeply in the hole. We went in the hole sometimes, but for the most part, neighbors would come in and they'd slip us $100 check to pay for this band or something like that, or one of the band members. They got paid more than $100 for a whole band. But you get my point. We just did it, and we worried about it later.
Or they'd do food or something.
Yeah, and people would bring food, and they would bring wine and that kind of thing. The neighborhood came in and pitched in. And so there was a fella in the neighborhood in 2018, and his name is John Matthews, and I want to thank John. John had this idea of, he was connected with Nokia Bell Labs, and he said, I think Nokia might like this because we're kind of pushing the envelope of technology a little bit. You guys are shining images on the old 1900 wall, but you're doing it with these crazy psychedelic new computer imagery and projections, and you guys are interested in pushing the envelope sonically and electronically, not just... John knew what we were trying to do, because I am interested in the marriage and the coexistence between the organic and technology, the classical and the modern. because I think that's how the classical is going to survive. And I think actually it'll help to tailor and rein in a little bit of the technical. It will make technology more palatable and more human. And Nokia Bell Labs was about exactly that. Was about humanizing technology. I mean, everybody's walking around. Y'all know the deal. Everybody's walking around with cell phones, and they're always looking at these things. But what we were trying to do with the Vault Allure is, involve technology, but make it something that reminded people that they were alive. And we wanted people to not be looking at these damn things when the music was going and the images were being flashed up. I mean, we wanted them to realize that, hey, this pales in comparison to what's going on at the Vault Allure, and we still want that. And it was working. And with John Matthews' help, we got Nokia Bell Labs involved, and they gave us some money. And we did 3 events. So we went from 1 event to 3 events. So we went 1 each month. I think we did 1 in, I don't know. You can figure it out. It was during the summer. Maybe we missed a month, and I think we did 1 in September. Was it? They were all in August?
Yeah, we had a rain date in September.
Yeah. See, I don't plan these speeches out. I don't even know when it was, but there'll be a poster up to substantiate my lies. Fact check me if you want. Anyway, so we did 3 events, and I'm going to say one thing before Margot pushes the start button. I am so glad to be talking with y'all right now, because I have spent nothing but time on this video you're getting ready to see. It's going to be a 10-minute video, but it took me 2 weeks to go through this music, mix the music, make decisions on which music would go into this video, then mix the music, and we did separate recordings of the audio and recordings of the video, and so you mate those together if you really want it to sound worth a darn. So I'm gonna take the morning off tomorrow and have an espresso and just listen to the birds tomorrow because of what I'm ready to show y'all. So I want to say a couple of things. Every one of these years, each one of these archived years are going to be available for review on YouTube, probably Facebook as well, after this broadcast. And the first performer that we're going to feature in this 2018 video is Eden Morim, and he's from Israel, but he lives in the New York area. I found this guy on Facebook, and just, it's what an artist would want to have happen. Me as a concert curator, in addition to being a musician, I found this guy. I'm like, who is this guy? He was bluesy, but he had a little bit of the sweetness of Pat Metheny, but he had this European, Middle Eastern edge. He had everything in one guy. And I just contacted him and said, would you play at this festival? And he agreed to it. And when you do a concert, the sad thing about me trying to run a festival and play at it is that there's a lot of balls that are dropped. And as we grow, I'm going to have a dedicated sound person and a dedicated videographer and all of that. The video part we're getting down, but the sound I'm going to have a dedicated engineer, and it's going to cost money. But y'all will hear why it's worth it, because this thing sounds good. But sadly for Vault Allure, and sadly for y'all, Eden Morim's full set and the full set of 2019 are the only full sets we have of Vault Allure. So later on this year, or possibly early next year, we're going to team up with the now Jersey City Jazz Festival and show you, we're going to replay Eden Morim's full set. What you're going to hear in the next 10 minutes. I've been talking so long, I could have just played the darn thing and it could have been over with by now. But this is going to be 10 minutes. Eden starts it, and just enjoy, because I put a lot of work into this. 2018 Vault Allure.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the vault. I want to say thanks to all the artists who are putting this thing together, people who put the stage together and brought the chairs, all that stuff. And thanks for coming out. A great audience makes this possible, as much as anything else. silence. And so the city steams up through the raincoats. Maybe dreams know what comes and goes. Dreams to vapors vanish slowly. While swiftly whispered words blow, and the daylight swells as crowds of voices clamor, glow, groaning, throbbing. They all know the dull blows on the bell too well.
Well, that was, gosh, that reminded me of so many things that evening well, there was many evenings actually. That was a kind of a synopsis, a best of 2018. And it brings to mind an aspect of programming. We had kind of started an experiment of projecting images on the wall and projecting images on the ceiling. DJ Preschool was our projectionist for the underside of the vault. And we started working with a woman named Janet Jungorley, who was also beginning to do some computer image mapping. And I thought, well, this is working, so let's just keep with this team, this vibe team. They were just like mood pilots or something. They were in charge of the whole vibe of the thing. The aesthetics, it was as if the walls were being painted a different color every second. And it was because of Janet Jungorley and DJ Preschool. And so we thought, let's make it bigger and bolder. Let's move Janet out to the courtyard. But before I get to that, I want to say a couple of things. Two of the performers really started went somewhere even bigger and grander than the Vault Allure. Stephanie Winters, the cellist with the dancer that you saw in the middle, she was my former musical partner for years. But she was trying out at the Vault Allure, performing on cello doing a different take on the Bach cello suite. She liked that so much and got such a good reaction. She essentially sold that concept to Carnegie Hall, and a year later would be one of the very last performers before the COVID hit at Carnegie Hall, doing cello suite I think she played number 5, I think. But so all of the cello suites were played at Carnegie Hall in early March. But that idea for the Bach Cello Suites Festival, which Stephanie now leads, and y'all can look that up online, or Margot can maybe post that. That started. It was what would you call it? Laboratory at the Vault Allure, and it worked, and she went with it. The other thing is Andrew Keys. You remember that projectionist when Abdu from Senegal goes bam, and then all this starts on the wall. Andrew Keys is a young technologist, if you will, who was going to Stevens Institute. And he would take the shapes of those sails that were behind the stage, map them out on his computer with a projector, and sort of the computer would memorize the coordinates of the points of all the vectors of that stage backdrop, and then he could shine whatever he wanted or project whatever he wanted on those sails to whatever music tempo he wanted. And I just thought, we're moving this out to the courtyard next year. This is fantastic. So that brings me to the courtyard. It had been my dream. Again, I want to stress this festival, the Vault Allure Experience Festival, has always been and will be a work of art in and of itself. Yes, we present artists, but it's also a work of art in the presentation of it. So that's a train that's going by, and I'm sorry, but that's old school and analog, which is comforting to me. I'm going to wait just a second. Can y'all hear me okay? Yeah, I'm going to just keep talking. So we moved the main stage, out into the courtyard. We kept the stage inside and up under the vault, but we moved a stage out into the courtyard. And at that point, our audience was growing. I think we got up to between 900 and 1,000. We started at about maybe 100 people for 2016. And by the time 2019 rolled along, around 1,000 neighborhood people from Jersey City. People were coming in from the tri-state area, Connecticut, New York City, upstate New York, and so on, eastern Pennsylvania, to check out this thing called the Vault Allure Experience Festival. And we had such success the first year, thanks to John Matthews with Nokia Bell Labs, or bringing in Nokia Bell Labs. Nokia went around a second time with us. So we had a little bit more money, and we programmed a little bit bigger and grander. So here is the synopsis from 2019. You're going to see some new image mapping that you hadn't seen in 2018. We brought Joe Wax in, who does kind of my take on it. I don't know if you would agree with this, but he's fascinated, as am I, with silkscreen imagery and line art, and that's what I liked about Joe's work. He will do this wonderful marriage once again between old school, just pen and ink drawings and technology, and that just blasts up on our wall that was built in 1905, and it's just a wonderful marriage of the old and new. So that's Joe Wax. Andrew Keys also did some of the work on some of the old Belgian block wall. But when you see the images in this one of the arch, the image mapping on the arch is done by Janet John-Gorley. Janet, her realm heretofore had been the underside of the arch inside the vault. And we moved her out, and just we kind of pushed her to take on a new challenge, and she rose to the challenge. So I think this is going to be the end of my talking. We're gonna, when she presses commit, I'm gonna before she does that, I'm gonna say good night to everybody, and thanks for joining us. I shouldn't say good night, because there might be people in the future who look at this over green eggs and ham in the morning. If you do, that's wonderful. I want to thank again the Hudson County Office of Cultural and Historic Affairs. They've been a sponsor for us all from the get-go. I think they were instrumental in saying yes to us using Holland Street. The Riverview Neighborhood Association, called RNA, and it's at Riverview Neighborhood Association.org, or maybe it's just RNA.org. I don't know, but y'all can look it up. Alexis Rotter and Jeffrey Vock have provided all along wonderful stills. Thanks to both of them. And thanks, I can't say thanks enough to the volunteers. Every year, guys like Lee Levine and Joe Horowitz in the neighborhood, we get out on our backs on that cobblestone and assemble those stages, and with our wrenches, and the hammers fall on our heads and scratch us up. You'll see me in the interview in one of these, and I've got this cut on my forehead, and that's what it's from. So for this last video, we're going to show you a piece that was filmed by Michael Cutrone. Possibly it's Cutrone. I'm not sure, Michael. I'm sorry if I haven't put enough Italian into it. But we were doing for our last Vault Allure of 2019, we did a Woodstock tribute, because that was the year of the Woodstock's 50th anniversary. And because I had played with Richie Havens, the first performer to have played at Woodstock, I played with Richie for the last 10 years of his career. I thought and because Richie lived in the Jersey City Heights in his final days, I thought it would be appropriate to do a Woodstock tribute. We played one of Richie's songs, we played Canned Heat, we played Jefferson Airplane, we played The Who, and we played this one that you're going to hear now. So,
This is the highlights.
oh, this is the highlights, and then we're going to close with this is the highlights from the Woodstock show. Also featuring John Trigonis, a poet from Jersey City who is world class and plays all over the world as well. Y'all enjoy. This is Walter Parks from the Vault Allure, and above all, we're going to need your help for 2021. I don't live in the Heights anymore, but because I'm a touring artist, I consider Jersey City, if y'all have me, to just be another one of my stops, and it's more than just a stop for a one-nighter. I want to be involved in the festival if y'all want me to. Larry Heineman's going to be stepping in and taking over one of the stages as well. Kern Weissman's going to stay on as curator. Margot Parks, my wife, and I are still going to be involved, and we'll see y'all every summer, provided the COVID willing. And so I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you for tuning in. This is
I might say something later.
Kern might say something later, but if this is the last I see of you for this episode, y'all know where to find me. I'm Walter Parks. Thank you very much with the Vault Allure.
One, two, check, 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 check. 1, 2.
It's the Vault Allure, and we do this because we thought this is an opportunity. And so we got together and said, what do we want to look forward to in living in Jersey City? And so we decided to try and put on these concerts here. We had a live band that was rearranging the songs of Woodstock. While we were playing those songs, we had guest dancers from the Jersey City Ballet. We also had a fantastic juggler and dancer named Cat Alexander. And we also had Andrea Brockfeld, who had a fantastic jazz group. And all of the musicians were world class. Nokia Bell Labs has always been the realm of scientific pioneers, and we're cultural pioneers. So I think Nokia saw a similarity, a camaraderie in that. So we're happy that we're in partnership with it. I've had a vision to put on this kind of concert for years. A band set up in the round, around a central stage where guests could come. So the band is all communicating and looking at each other, just as we do in a rehearsal. I want the audience to surround us and feel that power that we do. And that's what we've done here at the Vault Allure. We've created a place where people can surround the music and they can feel it the way the bands feel it. They can feel it the way I felt it when I was a kid in a garage band. That's why we get into this, and that's why we stay with this, because of that feeling, that power. And that power turns you into something that you make happen from a mere possibility. It's a very unorthodox space. Over 100 years ago, people put their heart and soul into this place. For years after that, it was abandoned. So we thought, why not bring it back to life in a way? And so that's why I think it's meaningful beyond just giving a concert.
You got to have a change of scene. Every night it seems the strangest dream. Imprisoned by the way things could have been. Left here on my own, so it seems. I've got to leave before I scream. So lock the door and throw away the key. You're feeling alright. Oh, not feeling too good myself. Woo! Oh, you're feeling alright. Oh, not feeling too good myself. Boy, you should have took me for a ride. Even though I won't stop and wonder why. And when I think of you, I stop myself from crying. I just can't waste my time. Keep on trying. I got to stop believing in all your lies. There's just too much to do before I'm done. Feeling alright. Oh, not feeling too good myself. Woo! Oh, feeling too good myself. Oh, feeling alright. Oh, not feeling too good myself. Oh, hey, hey. Oh, now don't you get too lost in all I say. 'Cause you know at the time I really felt that way. But that was then, and you know it's today. Clap your hands. I can't get straight, I guess I'm here to stay. Someone comes along, takes my place with a different name and a different face, feeling alright. Oh, I'm feeling too good myself. Oh, yeah, 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 feeling alright. Oh, not feeling too good myself. Oh, feeling alright. Oh, not feeling too good myself. Feeling alright. Not feeling too good myself. Yeah, feeling alright. I'm not feeling too good myself. Come on, y'all. Feeling alright. Cat Alexander, everyone.
I love seeing that. Did that sound okay, everybody? Let us know. I hope you've enjoyed this retrospective, and I want to especially want to thank Vivian Sessoms. I didn't give a shout out to her and James Mastro, the lead he was playing, and Dane Johnson. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, Kern Weissman is going to step in and probably, correct everything I've said. It's he knows much better than me what's going on. Here we go.
Hey everyone! I just want to first of all thank everyone for signing in and or joining tonight on the stream, and I especially want to thank Walter and Margot for putting together these wonderful videos. These were fantastic.
Pleasure.
Really, visual was amazing, sounded amazing. I had my headphones on; they were absolutely excellent. So thank you again for all the hard work that went into that. I just want to thank again and appreciate the sponsorship that allowed us to do this, that allowed us to get these videos together and editing and hire people where needed, and hire Walter and Margot to help actually put all the effort needed to put this together. So that's the Hudson County Cultural Affairs, Joe Wax and those guys really came through for us. So and in challenging times we try to be creative and put stuff like this together. Hopefully 2021 will bring us back to the Vault Allure on Holland Street. And I just want to make a couple points that if you're interested in getting involved, if you're interested in donating, if you're interested in performing, or you're always looking for artists, top quality artists to contribute and participate. We have a process for that. So if you want to just help out, want to donate, want to volunteer, you can reach out to riverviewneighborhood@gmail.com. And we also have a Facebook and Instagram. You can message us there. We have Danielle Thomas, who is the event coordinator. She's going to be working with us in 2021. And Jocelyn Patrick is the current RNA president. So if you email Riverview Neighborhood, she'll get that as well. And you can go to riverviewneighborhood.org for our website to get on there. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank, really importantly, because just seeing the beauty of the street and the arts being performed there, if I didn't thank the people, and the RNA has been around since 1983, and there's been a lot of people that have helped protect that street from being paved over and developed on and all those things. There was a collapse there at one point, and it tried to get paved over multiple times. And so people like John Gomez, people like Becky Hoffman,
Yeah.
president for like 8 years. I mean, they really helped protect that street and cleaned it every year and maintained it and really organized it as so people would treasure it. And that just allowed for someone like Walter and Margot to come and see the potential of that street. And then I actually met and became involved with RNA when I actually got down to clean that street when Becky Hoffman was president. So that's all these things kind of come full circle. So again, if you want to get involved, we are going to need your support to keep these kind of events going. We want to keep them always free to the public. We always want to pay the musicians what they deserve. So those are two really important things. And we're interested in, as you saw, spoken word. We're interested in dance. We're interested in projection, technology, everything. So reach out. We'll get you, all your info and go from there. So, anyways, thanks everyone. Just want to appreciate the fact that everyone tuned in here and stay tuned. These channels, Vault Allure, both channels. On YouTube and Facebook are going to have presentations of additional videos. There's a lot more great content that we didn't show tonight that Walter's going to be presenting, both with Riverview Jazz and also just more of these 2019 videos that are fantastic. So thanks again. Good night, everyone.